Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Health and Wealth Podcast with your hosts, Tim and Carter.
What's trending, Enrichers? Carter Wilcoxon, founder of CSI Financial Group here, with my co-host and former wealth advisor, Tim James, founder of
ChemicalFreeBody.com and your new health advisor. This is the show where we reveal the connection between physical and financial abundance. Let's do it.
All right, let's do this thing. So, Tim James, how are you doing, buddy?
Buddy, I'm doing awesome. Hope everybody out there listening is doing awesome too. I hope you're boosting your immune system. And today we're going to be getting into challenges and solutions to client acquisition during the pandemic. Carter, take it away, brother.
Well, first of all, interestingly enough, during this pandemic, it is a little bit quiet, and that is a challenge. You know, that the issues that a lot of our independent financial advisors throughout the country are dealing with, depending on the state that you are in right now. And sometimes that really depends on if it's red or blue, by the way. Interestingly enough, I think we're so close to California that it's more of a purple haze going on right now. But yes, it is really quiet, even though you said, client, but it is sort of quiet when it comes to client acquisition as a traditional challenge already for most of the advisors that we're working with. However, now during this time over the last, 8 or 9 months, I can't believe it's almost the end of 2020. We're coming up on Halloween, Tim James.
Yeah. And it really is crazy because I'm thinking back when I was a financial advisor, I was actually fortunate enough to be working with my mentor, Jeff Dixon, who owned Northwest Financial and Tax Solutions. And he basically, every year he did his planning and he booked out his whole year's worth of marketing. And they spent, over 150 grand a year on marketing. Why? Because it worked, right? So it didn't matter whether the market was up, it was down, economy was up or down. Jeff was marketing. He always had, we were doing like, we would do invitations for free dinners plus an educational piece on some type of, financial instrument or, tax planning or estate planning, and come to this fancy, nice restaurant. And, we fed a lot of people, but then it gave us a chance to get in front of them and then book an appointment. The other thing too is, like, even before that, when I was a mortgage broker for 10 years, I remember my first guy mentor in the business. He's like, yeah, stay away from reverse mortgages, stay away from construction loans. Those are, they're a lot of work and the paperwork's thick and it's a lot of time. And so I was like, I just listened to him because he was my mentor, and he was completely wrong. He was absolutely completely wrong. So eventually I did my own construction loan for a second residence that I built. And I'm like, this was easy. It was just like, you get a set of plans and you have the property, the land, right, that you've purchased. And then you just you have an appraiser appraise it based on if it was built. Now you got your appraisal, that's done, just one little extra step. And then all of a sudden you go get the loan, right? And then there's some draws to be taken at the end, but those paid really, really well. And then when the whole economy was shrinking in 2008, after the crash, I started doing reverse mortgages because people needed cash. So I started feeding people and doing these things at, restaurants that the old folks like to eat at. They have lunch at 11 a.m. and dinner was at 4, So we did that. And I started doing reverse mortgages. Yeah, there was like 80 pages for them to sign, but they paid really, really well. And I was actually helping people. So I think what I would suggest, and I know you're going to get into the actual solutions and what's working today for the advisors and even people in other industries. But what I want to share with on my standpoint is when the market is contracting, that's when you want to expand, because everybody else is like, well, maybe we should just shore up and hold back and cut some staff and get small and get lean. And no, this is a time to expand because people are more than ever worried about their money. Estate planning is becoming even more prevalent with the tax code changes and all these things going on. This is the time to grab your market share. What do you think?
Well, and that's a perfect segue, by the way, Tim James. And I want to go back from our last podcast, which was also our first podcast. Congratulations on a great first show, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, now we're on number 2.
We're on number 2 now, and
so we might have to talk about bowel movements, but we'll see.
And hopefully not diarrhea of the mouth is what a lot of people are not thinking, hopefully too, right?
Yeah.
So Enrichers, during that first show, I happened to notice as I went back and listened to it, I want to make sure I make this fix. I said chemical free body.
Yeah.
Tim James, chemical body. My bad. And obviously it was our first show. So that'll be funny one day.
It's okay. You were really nervous, I could tell.
I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I'm such an introvert, much like you, so I'm trying to come out of my shell these days.
Yeah.
So to that point, and on our last podcast, I just want to get that out, but our first podcast, so often what we have definitely realized and understood is that, when things start, when everybody else is sort of like contracting, and I remember this during the Great Recession. You may remember that. I don't remember what part of, you telling me your financial advisory space at that time in 2008, 2009 during the Great Recession. But I remember it very, very well. And in fact, because we consider ourselves in the stay rich business, my space more so than the get rich business, that was a great, wonderful time for us because everybody's fleeing and going to safety. And that's where balanced portfolio, right? Managing the risk and reward and a proper allocation really comes into play. But during that time, everybody really started like contracting, and even myself, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. It's the unknown. I'd never gone through that before. I mean, you go all the way back to the great crash in 29. Everybody remembers that. But when I started doing more research, and we're in also the knowledge for profit business, a lot of people in 29, 30, all the way through basically World War II, whenever that really got us out of the Great Depression, ultimately, that's when people got rich. People got rich because they saw it as an opportunity. It is an opportunity during those times when everybody else starts running to safety and fearing. And it reminds me of that scene in It's a Wonderful Life when they're doing the run on the bank, and that was a very a big part of that time. And people they flee and they stop doing the marketing. To your point, this is a time when you essentially double down. But here's what you have to have. You have to have a partner in this that has their entire focus on client acquisition for their clients. That's where CSI Financial Group separates ourselves even before all of this, COVID started happening, was we were already laser focused on client acquisition, not for us, but more faith-based, that like if we made sure that we put all the steps and we address this traditional challenge for most advisors on client acquisition and growing their business through client acquisition, if we just stay focused on what can we do to help them grow their practice, they would reward us with the business that we ultimately were going to be sharing in, whether that's life insurance or annuities, which is our primary component on revenue. But yes, to your point, that is a traditional challenge. And I just want to share a story in real time on what's happening with what we call our advisor partners. One of our advisor partners called me up about, 5 or 6 months ago. Now, the core components of what we've been doing, and it was funny, you talked about what you used to do. You would invite a bunch of people to a room and you'd feed them, and we call them plate lickers.
Yeah, the plate lickers.
Yes, the plate lickers.
And it's your job to turn them into a customer.
Yeah. So, but here's what we've done, and this will be a good segue. But what we have done and discovered with using estate planning as a foundational educational approach, we quickly realized early on that what has traditionally been done by most insurance agents and producers, advisors, agents, they have done these dinner seminars. But because this topic, and especially now with what's going on with, not only the fear of death, but the fear of incapacity, and what happens if I don't have my proper healthcare directives that are put into place on how I'm supposed to be administered if I lose incapacity. enter Terry Schiavo, for those of you who remember that. So, traditionally speaking, they have done dinner seminars. What we learned along the way is that because this topic is so important to the end user, and because we make this accessible to them through education, where they can't get this education in a lot of instances, we quickly realized that we can be more cost effective for our advisors that are investing in the marketing that they have to pay to get the butts in the seats. We provide all the stuff. They just have to pay for it. What we realize is that you don't have to do it at a dinner setting and at a restaurant, Ruth's Chris or even Olive Garden potentially, right? What we realize is because it is so educational and because it is such an important topic, we could get the same amount of people at a educational venue, i.e. library, community center, university setting. We could get as many people there in that type of setting without having to feed everybody, which did two things. Number one, it cut down on the cost. But number two, this is a really interested potential client for you that is coming without you having to, them come for the free meal and become a so that's really what we have discovered along the way. But I want to share this story with everybody. Enrichers, listen up. I have one of our advisor partners calls me up 6 months ago. She has a young family. She got introduced to us about 18 months ago, went through all of the training that we provided, uses all of our team members to help her elevate the client experience, create that professional contrast that I talk about all the time. And she calls me up and she goes, Carter, I have 2 young kids. My husband has an opportunity to move back and be transferred from Illinois, where we're living currently, to his hometown where he grew up, or where most of his family lives, back in Arkansas, Fayetteville to be specific. But we've been successful here in Illinois. But now that we're sort of in this, we can't have a group setting of 40 people in one room at this current time. I think we want to, before we get too entrenched here in Illinois, I think we want to take this opportunity to go there. But I'm so concerned, will we be able to replicate the success we've had here? Because she had some people individually she was working with. Now she's going to go to Arkansas, be a one-woman show. And was her biggest concern was, am I going to be able to replicate this? So let me share this.
So it's always the fear of the unknown when it comes to, putting money up front and seeing if you're going to get a return on that money. Right?
Yes.
But you have to. So I want to ask. I'm gonna grill your ass in a little bit once you get done with this story, because I'm going to come from the advisors' point of view, listening on this, and how they engage with you and how they get started and feel comfortable in the results and stuff like that. So keep going.
Perfect. Awesome. So she did everything that she was trained to do. She did everything that we created for her. She had to invest the money for the marketing and stuff like that. By the way, a lot more cost effective than you would even imagine with what I'm getting ready to tell you, especially. So moves to Arkansas. We do the website for her. We do all these explainer videos. We create all this content for her. Overnight, we make her look bigger than she is. That's the point. Now, remember, our ideal prospects are older generation. But because of what's going on, the benefit for the digital transformation age that we are now fully thrust in is that our ideal clients, they've also been forced to get comfortable in, online, digital, and becoming Google proof is super important. So if you don't have a website, let me take one step back. We knew early on that most advisors, they're great at one thing, and that's selling. They can sell if you get the ideal clients in front of them. We solved that. But what they don't, most of them realize, is that especially now, if you don't have an online presence, you're done. You're toast. You're competing against, if you're completely independent, right? You're competing against the Merrill Lynches and the Edward Joneses of the world. And they have an entire team and an infrastructure, Ameriprise, that that does help them make them look much bigger than they are. So we sort of replicated that ourselves, but for the independent space. So she ends up doing an event. We fill the room. She is a 90%, I'm not making this up. She has a 90% appointment set rate from the attendees there. To date, she just onboarded today. It's all about client acquisition. It all begins and ends with client acquisition. I say that ad nauseum, by the way. But it bears repeating over and over again. It's rhetorical. But to date, as of today, she has now onboarded 12 brand new households so that she can now be able to send them through the estate planning process. That's all done from the comfort of their own home, these clients, all digitally, all electronic, all with team members that specialize in all the estate planning stuff, which ultimately gets them to the attorney. It's all personalized, customized, handheld, done with computer, phone technology that's available at our fingertips today, which then ultimately opens up the door for all of her insurance and financial solutions that are provided on the back end for these clients. So, Tim, how much do you think somebody would pay if they knew they could onboard and acquire 12 new households in a matter of moving from a brand new city or moving from where you grew up to a brand new city, no presence, no nothing? Where would most advisors even go to start to be like, hey, I got to be bigger than I am. I got to have this presence, and I need to be able to get clients lickety split. Literally, she's not even closed on her other house in Illinois while she's onboarding 12 households here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, 12 of them to be exact. And you know what that is going to be worth to you, because you're going to, through this process, know where every single dollar that they own, where it's at.
Well, it'd be worth, it all depends on your average, what's your average client investing, and then what's your return on that. And then you could figure it out. But let's say you made, $10,000 per client. Mm-hmm. So it'd be 120 grand, what wouldn't it be worth? Usually as an advisor, we were looking for a 10-to-1 return. Mm-hmm. So if we invested, $12,000, we'd want to get 120,000 back, something like that. Right. Yep. That's what Jeff's model was. I'm just going back a little bit. I'm thinking like when I got out, because all that stuff was kind of handled for me, like all the marketing, the website and all that stuff was done. I've learned a lot when I moved into the health space and created my own, my own website. I got burned pretty hard. I hired the wrong people. I paid way too much money, and I was trying to put together the pieces of all of this, and I'd never done it before. And I had a lot of the wrong components. Right. So it's just like, if you're building a company, the company's only as good as your team. If you have a bunch of, shitty people on your team, or if you get one bad person on the team, it's like a cancer and it runs off the good ones. Right. So you have to have a unit to who's going to build the website. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, I wasn't a tech guy at all. I'm learning more of that stuff now. But for you advisors out there that aren't really tech savvy, but you're really strong on people skills and doing what you do in your sweet spot, which is what you should be doing. You should be doing presentations all day long and getting people to sign paperwork and then turning it over to your team to process it. So what you want to do is you want to stay like a dentist. You want to have your hands in somebody's mouth at all times. You need to be in front of people, because if you're not in front of people, you're unemployed. That's the bottom line. So what I like about what you've done is that, the first question though is like this website that you build for them. What I've learned is that you don't want to just have a website to have a website. The website should sell you. It should be more of like a sales funnel to help close the business. You don't want to just spend thousands of dollars on a website just to, okay, I got a website. Nobody cares. I mean, they want to see you. You have to have a website. You have to have that presence. But if you're going to spend the money on a website, why not have a website that's very functional that will help convert clients? Yep. Right. So that's number one. And then where you've create the content for people, you create the website. They just have to help you with probably here, send me a photo of you, send me a photos of your team, send me a photo of you working with some clients so people can see you in action. Maybe I don't know. What do you do for like the Who We Are videos? Do you outsource that, or do you guys handle that in-house?
All in-house.
All in house. Okay, well that's great. Because you can spend basically $1,000 a minute for a really high quality video, right? 4,000. If you do a 4-minute Who We Are video, that's going to run you out in the market probably about $4,000 for somebody to do it right. Not just paste it together, but really do it right to tell an emotional story that's going to hook people to you and realize that what's different about you and that you're real and that you're not just some Edward Jones carbon copy or Merrill Lynch carbon copy or Ameriprise carbon copy, how they do it, that you're different and you're a real person and you really have their best interests at heart. The other thing is that, filling the room is the hardest job. That is absolutely the hardest job. And you guys take care of that for them and fill the room. And then you also help them with the presentations, right? If they don't have a presentation, you have presentations, correct?
It is literally turnkey. We give
the
them
whole thing.
The soup to nuts, absolutely soup to nuts. So the advisor partner platform, which is why we call them advisor partners, makes up 4 pillars to success. It's the training that we provide. Mm-hmm. It's marketing that we provide. And I'm talking about like client facing marketing, content, emails, just all copy, paste, send. I mean, we make it that turnkey. But more importantly for them and for everybody listening to this, the third pillar is the mentoring. So it's not like, hey, take my word for it as I'm sitting here at the corporate office and I'm the CEO and founder of CSI Financial Group. Now, I've been in the space and I know what it's like out there, which is why we developed all this, because I struggled trying to be like, why can't this marketing organization help me to grow my practice? Because all they do was sell their product. They weren't going to help you with the client acquisition, like actually getting you in front of the people. Yeah. So the mentoring part is key to this. The mentoring is going to be advisors who are in the field incorporating what it is I'm talking about right now in their own practice. So you don't need to take my word for it. You're going to have a mentor who's going to show you, teach you, coach you, train you, all of that stuff with all of his team members, our team members, and our team members in this multidisciplinary collaborative team approach. I've coalesced this ecosystem of specialists with over 250 plus years of experience in all of these different necessary areas. So I don't want you to have to even do anything other than the track that I've built. All you have to do is decide you're going to run. If you decide you're going to run, we've got the track laid out for you. It's just that simple. And then, of course, the fourth pillar is the support that we provide all along the way. So one of my coaching mentors in this space a long time ago said to me, if you're going to have a process and say that you have a process, you by golly better have a process. But if left to their own devices, they're doomed to fail. So I don't want any of the advisors listening right now, prospectively, and we'll drop some links in there so you can find out some stuff. We'll be able to, go to our website and find out some stuff. But anybody who's listening needs to understand that we are never going to leave you to your own devices. You're going to have a full supportive team every step along the way because everybody has a vested interest in your success.
Cool. All right, man. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, let's dig a little deeper into that, and then how somebody can, if an advisor's listening, how they can get started and get a free consult or however you do it, and show them how they can increase their revenue, and then because I'm here, I'm going to help them be healthy too. We'll be right back.
If you build it, they will come. For most financial advisors, the subject of estate planning for their clients is relegated to a side activity only to be left to disconnected third-party outsourcing. Rather than recognizing the opportunities it inherently provides, advisors very often view estate planning related work as a time-consuming, unproductive process. Unfortunately, this kind of remiss and costly attitude is derived mostly from unquestioning acceptance of half-truths or even outright fiction. Another factor is simply the lack of relevant knowledge and a team of experts to partner with. Hello, I'm Carter Wilcoxon, CEO and founder of CSI Financial Group and architect of the Advisor Partner Platform. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to update you on how this one-of-a-kind and unprecedented process has changed the lives for so many. When we set out on this journey to connect advisors with clients, we never imagined that we would actually find out that clients or prospective clients needed advisors just as much. The knowledge that we have gained when making accessible our entire team approach has brought to the general public a seamless, cost-effective, and comprehensive way to have true peace of mind. Because of this, when our advisor partners use this collaborative effort, the reward for them at the end has been nothing short of life-changing. All too often we hear words like revolutionary, innovative, or turnkey when describing something to make it more than it is. And in this IMO world that we've been competing in, those are descriptions of empty promises that have given this industry an unenviable reputation. So, after almost 2 decades of being pigeonholed and forced to be part of a system that we didn't create, it was our true intention to recreate. CSI Financial Group is paving the way for what we now call ourselves, a Practice Development Organization, or PDO. Our Advisor Partner Platform is just the beginning of what we are building, and we are encouraging those who are wanting to truly transform their business and stand out from the rest to come learn more. When you partner with us, you'll get all the exclusive tools, resources, and processes needed to cement your ideal clients while creating professional contracts. We look forward to hearing from you and sharing more. Thank you.
Enrichers, Tim James here and Carter Wilcoxon. We're back with the Health and Wealth Podcast. We've been chatting here about for advisors what Carter's business does, what CSI Financial Group can do for you to eliminate all the myths and basically demystify how the heck can you find clients, attract these clients, get in front of these clients, and make sure that they're the right clients. And I'm really excited. Like I said, Carter, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, and if I was a financial advisor, I'd be doing this because that 90% appointment set rate, I really like the estate planning way of doing it, because when you're feeding people like we did, like we would offer all these free meals, you get a lot of plate lickers, right? So then it was your job to portray a compelling argument to why they would want to set an appointment with you. But if you're not feeding them, not only do you cut out that cost so you can put more money into marketing to get more people, but the people that are showing up, they're there for information. Yep. They're really wanting to, that's why they're there. They're not there to lick a plate and have, chicken cordon bleu. Yep. Or have the steak, or have the shrimp scampi, and the dessert. They're there because they want to learn about estate planning. They're interested in their money. So I think it's a higher quality lead, and it's obvious with your appointment set rate. We never even had close to that, and we were good. We had a system, and we were doing 6 seminars a month, day in, day out, week after week, month after month, year after year. So why don't you get into how and why would somebody want to book an appointment with you? What's that look like? And then why don't you share a few stories of some clients that you're working with right now, today, that are getting results?
Yeah. All right. So and of course we're in the age of pandemic, right? So this is ever evolving as we continue, figuring out, navigating these waters, uncharted territory, truth be told. So I can tell everybody that if you go to our website, you can be able to book a 15-minute complimentary consultation with me. And in that 15 minutes, you're going to discover that we have all of the solutions. It's not just a bunch of fluff. And we have absolutely not only leveraged technology, but we've also embraced technology. So as easy as it is to get on my calendar, schedule time with me, and you get the reminders, it's also that simple once you go through the process. Everything is documented. Everything's step by step. It's not like, I wonder what my next step is. We literally, when you use the word turnkey, and you've heard this terminology used overstated sometimes, turnkey. What they will discover is that it absolutely is turnkey. The next steps. Everything is like automated. And if you're embracing technology right now, as you should be, then you're gonna see just how simple it is to get you from beginning to the end. And I'm working with and I'll talk about this in a second, but I'm working with an advisor right now. He went through the steps. He just came to us in the last 10 days, went through the steps, paid for the marketing, super cost effective. Test me on this and find out. From the time he says, yes, let's move forward, until he's actually presenting in front of clients is about a 45-day turnaround. Now, I want to take one step back on this estate planning and the quality. It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. Inherently, estate planning is naturally going to attract more of the higher quality prospects that you want to work with automatically, just so everybody knows that. And one of the things that we help to demystify a lot of advisors with is that whether you think your clients need estate planning or not, or whether they think that it's, for the millionaires and billionaires only, what they will discover and what you will discover is that this is a massive area that has not been addressed for the longest time. And we solve this equation when it comes to client acquisition and this client experience that ultimately is going to do a couple of things for you. Number one, if they're your already existing clients and you tap into our platform and we give you all the deliverables to share with them this new value add, you're gonna find out and confirm that you do in fact know where all the assets are. Breaking news, you don't. Trust me, you don't. But number two, what's going to end up happening is that this is going to make you referable. So it's going to help you to multiply the marketing dollars already. So now all of a sudden you have these clients, but then because they go through this experience, they're like, oh my goodness, that was awesome. I can now sleep at night, because it's the peace of mind that really is ultimately delivered more so than just the solution. But then what ends up happening is that, guess what? They're at church on Sunday and they're telling their local, their friends and their families and their relatives, oh my goodness, you got to talk to my guy. He's got this proprietary process that he calls whatever we name it. And he took us through it, and it was so amazing. It was so easy. I couldn't get over it. It blew our mind. So now you become referable. So now, how much did that new client cost you? It cost anything. So introductions, as we call them, are it's more about the referability. Are you referable? And that's one of the documents that we share with our advisors as we onboard them. Are you referable? And then we give you some stuff, some food for thought, but also some training. If you can answer the question, you're referable, great. Then why are you not being referred? This is what solves the referability issue. So that's just a couple of the things. So our advisor, who is in North Carolina, Mark, by the way, he is super excited. He found out with one of our internal wholesalers about what it is that we're doing. And it's interesting, this brand new internal wholesaler of ours learned about what we were doing for advisors. And it was someone I've known in this space for 10 years, doing what I used to do before I started my own firm. And he called me one day trying to convince me to buy this new annuity software or whatever. And it was interesting. During the conversation, I started telling him about how, we're not really overly concerned with, the different products that we've got the product mix that we really need. So our advisors, they're not product dependent because of our process. So he goes, well, tell me a little bit more about that. So I started getting in there, and he goes, wait, you're doing what? And so I got a little bit deeper with him. He goes, when can I start? I said, wait, I thought you had this other job. He goes, this is awesome. I've already got a whole bunch of guys that I've talked with in the past. They would absolutely eat this up. And that's exactly what's happening. it's such a compelling and attractive story when you really learn more about it. Again, go to the website, click on schedule a call with Carter, give 15 minutes, and we will enlighten you on what it is that's going to change your world.
It sounds like you guys are like doing something similar, but way more. What we were doing internally at our firm was we were bringing three components together. We're bringing, because usually somebody goes and sees a financial advisor, they do a pitch, and then like they take their money out and they put it in whatever instruments that they sell. I mean, that's what it is. It's a shuffle game. Like when we were talking earlier, remember when the economy was crashing? It was like rats fleeing the ship, and Edward Jones and Schwab and Merrill Lynch, all these, they were all just trying to grab each other's clients. And what the people didn't know is that it was they were just going to the same deck. They just shuffled the deck and they went back over. Instead of having these mutual funds, they'd go into these, right? Or it was the same show. There was no difference. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds approach with no safety nets. We were explaining people about the mutual fund managers and how the fees are 0 to 4%. You look on page 136, it was always 4%. And that the mutual fund managers are, handcuffed by prospectus. They see the market going down. They can't do anything. They just got to ride your money down. The whole system is just stupid the way it was set up. But what we did was we would ask people, okay, you have a financial advisor. Do you at least do an annual meeting with your financial advisor? Not all of them did, but some did. And do you have a CPA? Well, yeah, a lot of them had a CPA. Some didn't. Do you have an attorney? Not as many had attorneys helping them out, especially with the estate planning part of it, right? Then when we ask this question, how many is your financial advisor speaking with your CPA, and is your financial advisor in touch with your attorney? Is your CPA in touch with the attorney? Almost nobody. So we ended up facilitating this client, this financial triangle, if you may. And it sounds like you guys you have the financial triangle, and on top of it, you bring in all the tech and the lead generation and the website and everything. And that's why it sounds so, that's why it's working so well, because people like that the financial advisor is actually talking to the CPA, because it's not just what you make, it's what you get to keep. So you got to look at the tax side of things and then the estate planning. So I totally get what you're doing here. And then I'm sure there's some people that are wondering, is this SEC approved, FINRA approved? Is my broker dealer going to be okay with all this? So can you speak to that?
I am so glad that you asked that question. So I was just sharing with a brand new lady today. She found out about what it is that we're doing. We cast our net pretty wide out there because we're a national company, so we can work with advisors and clients all over the country. And she was asking me basically sort of like that same question, like, how many advisors are you working with? And I said, so she used to be a registered rep. She had a broker dealer, and about 2 months ago, we just became an authorized vendor of the 9th largest independent broker dealer in the United States. And the reason why is because of our process and our platform. Now, I told her, I said, it sort of fell in our lap. We weren't even looking to do this. We typically work with insurance agents that aren't securities licensed or Series 65, who are very independent, and they, it's assets under management. They put their wrap accounts and life insurance and annuities. That's our core competency and the licensing that we normally are working with those type of independent advisors. But I told her, I said, this broker dealer fell in our lap, and it was because of our process that we had. It wasn't because of a product that we were promoting. It had everything to do with this process. We went through all their due diligence, the whole deal. I was just on a call today with the one of the heads of the broker dealer. They are ecstatic. There's over 4,000. Now listen up, enrichers. There's over 4,000 registered reps that are getting ready to learn. We're already working with 3 of them. We started out with slow, scaling up. There's 4,000 registered reps that are getting ready to learn about our process that solves the client acquisition equation, takes care of all of this stuff that is FINRA approved, SEC approved. Everything has been compliant, the whole kit and caboodle. This is going to be your competition. So I will tell you this much right now. If I was competing against what it is that I put together, I would hate to do that. I would hate to absolutely compete against what it is that we have put together. And what I wanted to really create, to your point, Tim James, is I wanted to create actually, not just saying it, I wanted to create a one-stop shop. Everything, instead of a triangle, it's actually a circle because it's a collaborative effort. Everybody is in communication with one another. Everybody has a vested interest. And why I'm saying it's a circle is because you've got this circle of teammates that surround the advisor right in the center. So we convey the message to the end user, prospect, or client. 72% of the time they become clients, by the way. We convey to them from the beginning that this independent advisor and agent isn't by themselves. They have a full entire team. And to your point, the number one thing, and the reason why this is such a huge opportunity for them, is that nobody, as a general rule, even wants to deal with an attorney. You know, if an attorney's getting involved, it's probably not a good thing, right?
Yeah,
So
and it's going to be expensive.
it's going to be expensive. It's going to be time consuming. It's going to be, you name it, all those things. It's going to be painful, cumbersome. We take all the pain out of that entire equation. You don't have to have an attorney. You know why? We have attorneys that work with you. We bring to you that will actually have a communication with you, a conversation with you as a real person. And they are all younger. They're all very technologically savvy, which is going to be super important. And they're patient to work with these end user clients who, you know, they may be technologically challenged. Everything's all online. But what we discovered is that even your 85-year-olds, my grandmother, we just went and celebrated her 91st birthday. You know how she communicates with us, Tim James?
FaceTime?
Boom. Right? So,
Yeah.
so again, you know, that's a misnomer. Talk about demystifying things. It's amazing to me how often an agent or producer or advisor has the conventional wisdom of thinking, oh, well, these older age clients, they're not going to want to do this digital thing. Here's a quick story. One of our top independent financial advisors that's in the Midwest, he tells me as I'm talking to him about this process, he goes, Carter, the clients in my area, he's in the St. Louis area, right? He said, they're not the same as everywhere else. They're going to want to have the portfolio, the leather-bound portfolio, the paper documents. That's what they may do. Some of them may do the digitized estate planning, but very, very few of them. This was early on. He said this to me. He's had one of the, 200 households that he's onboarded in the last, 18 to 24 months. He's had one client say they wanted the paper document. Everybody else they were actually expecting it to be online. Like it blows my mind that these advisors think that these clients are just like sitting around waiting to die. And they're not communicating with their grandkids through FaceTime or through Facebook or through, any types of technologies that are available at our fingertips. So anyway.
Well, let me ask you a question, man. So obviously you guys bring the attorneys in for the estate planning. What about the CPAs? Do you guys have a CPA network or?
All in-house. We actually have tax mitigation specialists that are all part of our team already.
So if somebody still wants to process their tax returns with their local CPA, that's fine, but you still have a CPA in-house to work, because the CPAs and the attorneys you work with, they understand your process and the whole concept where the client's in the middle and you guys are like, helping them.
Seriously, I'm so glad you said that. So the disconnection, that's been siloed out, CPA, attorney, advisor, right? This has been needed to be created forever, right? At least you were wise enough to, collaborate and work with trying to bring everybody together. Here's the difference. We're all already on the same team. Now, yes, to your point, if you have a CPA and you're getting your taxes done, our CPAs just work with your CPAs and they talk CPA language, right?
Yeah, and I totally think that what we would tell our clients is like, especially if you had a business, you should have two CPAs and you pay them both to do your tax returns. And you let them know, I've got you and I've got another CPA doing the tax returns. It's a good way. You spend an extra $400, extra $1,600, $5,000 a year, whatever it is, depending on the size of your business. Have two sets of eyes on it. and then, get the two sets of returns and have them meet together. And why did you say this and why that? And have them go back and forth. And then at the end, you pay them both and you submit the one that you want, right? The other thing that I wanted to talk about that I think is really important, because all this stuff is like all the cobwebs are breaking through from my head now from back in my financial advisor days, which was client retention. Like if you have a kick-ass process, yes, they're going to stay there. But also when I learned this from like the property and casualty insurance guys. Like if they had, your car insurance, the chances of them losing you was like pretty high. But if they had your car insurance and a rental policy or a homeowner's insurance, that dropped down significantly. But if they had the car insurance, they had a rental policy, or they had the homeowner's insurance, and they had insurance like on a motorhome, they had 3 pieces. It was hard to get rid of them because people just didn't want to. They have all that business there. So when you are just a financial advisor and then all you're offering is your services and you don't really bring that team together, you have to understand they're going to go be talking to their CPA, which has more influence over the client than you, and an attorney, and they're always going to be trying to refer them to their sphere. So you're always running the chance of losing them. So keeping everything kind of in-house and all in one place, your client retention, from what I saw, goes through the roof. And if you have a proprietary process, that's going to help out as well.
Well, and again, I wish I could actually say I teed you up for these questions, but I didn't. These are like, it's all coming back to you, right? Because these are the things that you were dealing with whenever you're out there in this space, right?
Yeah, because it gets expensive to acquire a client, and you want to keep them, especially if they're good ones. So you want to acquire the right ones. So it goes back to basics of business. You have to do 3 things. You have to acquire clients. You have to get them to repurchase and stick with you, and you want to get them to refer other people. That's your main job as a business owner. Get them to rebuy, stay with you, and refer you more folks. That's the whole part of your business. That's the core of it.
So I have this phrase that I use all the time. It's not what it is, it's what it does, right? And I'm going to forewarn everybody. Listen up, enrichers. I'm going to forewarn you. Because client acquisition is such a challenge, especially during this pandemic, client acquisition is such a challenge in and of itself in the first place. I am going to warn you right now, as I warn all of our advisor partners during these calls that I have with them, prospective advisor partners, careful what you wish for. Because if done properly, these clients are going to be yours in perpetuity. So you might want to make sure they're the clients you want to deal with. So what we're trying to ultimately create for our advisor partners are what we call a 4A client. The clients need to have the right attitude, the right aptitude, the right amount of assets, and then ultimately create them to be advocates for you to go out, cast their net to their sphere of people they can influence, family, friends, business owners, whatever the case may be, and then bring them to you. It's the purest form of client acquisition. So again, careful what you wish for, because these clients you're going to be working with are going to be yours forever. And so's the next generation. We can talk about that in the next episode.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, let's take one more quick break. And guys, when we get back, we'll wrap up. And for those of you listening that are CPAs and attorneys or in other professions, I really want you, this isn't just about, we're focusing kind of on, financial advisors today, but these business like metrics, these little tools, these things that we were talking about, like client retention, they apply to everybody. And I think would be really smart if a CPA has a really good buddy of his, or if you're an attorney, you have a really good buddy or a really good business partner that's a financial advisor, to get them hooked up with CSI Financial, at least to get a free quote, so that, that you can help them grow their business, because as they grow their business, they're going to be able to refer you back more clients, especially if they got a huge like lead generation machine. So anyway, we'll be right back.
You want the absolute best for yourself, and you want it to be easy. That's why we created Green 85. It helps with detoxifying the body gently. We're proud it's chemical-free, unlike almost all other supplements you'll find. Bottom line, Green 85 will get you healthier. We look forward to hearing what Green 85 did for you.
To get this product and our other amazing products, go to chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. All right, Enrichers, Tim James here with Carter Wilcoxon, the Health and Wealth Podcast. We're back. And Carter, it's been a lot of good information. You've knocked the cobwebs out of my head, and I see what you guys are doing over there is like it's like awesome, because if you're a financial advisor or any business, you're an insurance agent or whatever, and you want to increase your business, the stuff that you shared with today is it's very helpful. I was also thinking, because I think about everything, I look at everything, right? And I was thinking about this, like if you're just one man band or one woman band, or you've got an assistant and that's where you're at, you're really small right now. Every time you have to hire an employee, it's very expensive. You have to, run ads, you have to take your time to screen people, background checks, all these things you have to do. And then you finally narrow it down, you hire that person, you invest in them for 90 days, and then they have to move, or they get pregnant, or, stuff like this happens, right? It's just part of life. So, and then guess what? You have to pay, there's taxes, right? You have to pay your state and federal taxes, employment taxes, where what I was thinking is like with hiring your team, you know what you're going to pay every month. It's all in there. You're paying all the taxes for the teammates and stuff like that. So you can actually grow your business without those additional tax expenses as well, because you guys have those people in on your team. And then that's going to increase your revenue. And then you're going to be able to actually hire that next person quicker, right? Because you're going to have the cash to do it. You won't have to bootstrap it so much, because you'll actually have a cash flow there. And what I'm also seeing is that what you're doing is you're setting a new model, Carter, because things are changing. Like people have, remember when they used to fight like cell phones, and they thought that cell phones, nobody's going to want to carry these things around because they're big and heavy and they were very expensive. And now like everybody's got one. Right. So it's the same thing with technology and bringing all this stuff in house and making it very easy, not only just for the consumer, but for the advisor. Make the advisor's job easy. Let them do what they do best. Keep your hands in the mouth of the client so that you can help them. And because if you're not in front of somebody, you're not making money. But understand that the old way of doing business as a financial advisor is even what we were doing, is like buying people meals. It's almost like the horse and buggy maker. You can be the best horse and buggy maker in the world, but when Henry Ford invented the Model T, you're done, right? Times are changing. And if you don't change with the times, I mean, if you got 85-year-olds online doing FaceTime, and especially with COVID, they don't want to leave the house. You need to be having a strong online presence. You need to have the technology in place to communicate with these clients, close the clients, and have the attorneys and the CPAs that can do the same to bring that triangle of trust together for your advisors. So, man, you just went through some really cool stuff. So I was going to kind of play devil's advocate. So let's say I'm looking at this. I do a free consult, and then what kind of results can I expect? I mean, I'm basically going to have to do presentations, right? That's what I'm going to do. You're going to fill the room, and I have to do a presentation. It's turnkey. You mentioned a 72% client onboarding rate. Are you serious?
Oh, great. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that I don't really need to play devil's advocate. So that's your average?
That's our average.
Yeah. So if you are tired of calling your aunts and your uncles and harassing them to try to move their assets away from Ameriprise, because that's what you do. You make a list at Ameriprise when you work there. For those that are listening that have been there, you know what I'm talking about. You make your list of 70 or 100 people. They go through your list, that warm market. The managers make most of the money, and the 2 or 3% of you that make it through that process go up the network marketing ladder in that process. And, are you really helping your clients? Are you really helping your friends and family? So if you don't want to bother them and you want to have fresh blood, I think this might be a good place for you to start. What do you think?
Well, so here's the thing. 83% of Americans don't have this necessary tool that we call a revocable living trust. And the 17% of them that do, and this is from a Wealth Council publication that I can make available to you too, so I just pulled in air. Of the 17% that do, the other issue is that the vast majority of them have never been what we call funded. And that doesn't mean paying for it.
Oh, I know. That was a problem. They set it up, but they don't fund it. They don't put the assets in it.
We do all of it. We do all of it for the client from the comfort of their own home. Okay. We have this proprietary process, and I want to talk about this just real fast, Tim James. This proprietary process we call our 90 and 90 formula. This is why we call it the 90-90 formula. We can get 90% of your estate plan done in 90 minutes or less, all from the safety and comfort of your own home. Okay. From the time you go through the educational process, from the time that you go through, the client intake interview, the 72% I'm talking about, you go, yes, I need to do this. I'm in one of these two categories. I've either procrastinated, which is typically what they have done. I've procrastinated to get this done, and now I need to get it done. Or I've done something in the past, and I have no idea what it was that I did, or I need to make an update or whatever. That leads me into the reason why we call it our 90 and 90 formula. What about the other 10%, Tim James? The beauty of our platform, of our educational and our estate planning platform, and the collaborative team, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The other 10% is for that change that occurs for all of us for the rest of our lives. The beauty of the processing platform and with the team that's there for you 24/7, 365 is that when those changes occur with your annual subscription, by the way, it was less than $100 a year for the annual subscription. When you need to make a change, when those occur, not if, when they occur for the rest of your life, you can make those changes for the rest of your life in real time, from the comfort of your own home, from the beach, from, wherever, from another country. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that stuff happens because, mom and dad get divorced. So somebody passes away. One of the kids becomes a drug addict, and they're probably not the best person to be the executor of the estate at that point in time, right? So that stuff, there's always changes. Plus the rules change on the tax code. So you might have to make a change. So not only do you want to get that estate plan in place, and not only do you want to fund it and make sure that it's completed, otherwise you've wasted a lot of time and money, and that's usually a very expensive and cumbersome process. But things are going to change. That is one of the universal laws. In fact, since this is the Health and Wealth podcast, I think I'm going to take a moment and go through these.
Okay.
For fun. Law number 1, you exist. And in some form, you always will. So you're here for a reason, and we want you to kick ass and follow your highest excitement and be at your best and be an example and a good cog in this wheel of family, community, nation, and world that we have here. So don't be depressed because you're here for a reason. Law number 2 is the one is the all is the one. We're all connected. We want the best for you. I hope that is coming through. Carter and I, we just kind of shoot from the hip, but the reality is we want you to kick ass in life. We want you to follow your excitement. We understand that you're brothers and sisters, and we really want to help you, and we're all connected. Rule number 3 is, what is rule number 3? The one is the one, the all is the one. I'm totally brain doning it here. What was I talking about?
You're talking about the 4 laws of the pandemic. Oh, wait, no, wait.
Yeah. And law number 3, what you put out is what you get back. That's number 3. What you put out is what you get back. That's just pure physics, right? That's how it works. Like it's karma. You talk about that stuff. So if you are stuck as a financial advisor and you're having a hard time with client acquisition and you're stressed out because you can't spend time with your kids, and you have a lot of stress because you have to make phone calls all day long and call up your aunt for the 5th time trying to get her to move her money, and she's probably not going to do it. And if you do and you mess it up, the whole family's going to hear about it. Then you want to make some changes. So what you put out is what you get back. And the last law is that everything changes except the first 3 laws. And believe me, everything is going to change in your estate plan every year. And if you don't have a system, and you probably don't want to have to facilitate this all the time. So it's all turnkey. All this stuff is done for you. That's what I like for it. It's like the done for you business. It's almost like you could take somebody that knows nothing and teach them some presentation skills. They could just go do the presentation. Even if they sucked, they could probably close 10%, which would be pretty good. which would be pretty good. And they would probably make a living very quickly, and they get very good at it because they get in front of enough faces. They build up the confidence. They get some closings. And, but for you seasoned vets out there, the people that are medium seasoned, I would imagine you'd be crushing this right out of the gate. So, exciting stuff. So those are the 4 laws of creation. You exist. Some form you always will. Number 2, the all is the one is the all. We're all connected. Number 3, what you put out is what you get back. And number 4, everything changes except those first 3 laws. So that's something to, I think that stuff's important. What do you think?
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it, right? The one and only constant is change, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody that's listening right now, all of our enrichers that are listening right now, if you would have bet your life that what's happening right now wasn't going to happen a year ago. I guarantee it. You would have bet your life. There's no way. Wait a second. We're going to be forced to not go out in the sun. And if we're out in the sun, they're going to say you got to wear a mask.
Yeah. And by the way, the sun kills the virus in 2 minutes. But
right. But yes, are those important? Absolutely, they are important. That one constant is the change. That's the beauty of the software. That's the beauty of technology. But you need to have a team of specialists that can hold your hand. You can't do this on your own. So I'm going to tie up a nice little bow to make it nice and simple for everybody about this entire process. I started using this terminology a while back. Here's what it is. It's like Uber, Amazon, and LegalZoom all wrapped into one. That's what it is, right? So get on your phone, somebody comes, picks you up, takes you wherever you need to go, right? Amazon, hit buttons, stuff just shows up at your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And LegalZoom, you got to have the legal preparation and all the proper documentation. But you really honestly need to have some there's the beautiful Mrs. Wilcoxon in the house at the end of the Health and Wealth podcast. Come on.
I knew we'd get her on.
I knew we would too. It's amazing that we got her to get in here. Come on in, Mrs. Wilcoxon. Say hi to our enrichers.
Hello. I looked a little bit nicer, but
Oh, don't worry. Most people are just listening.
Yeah, that's definitely the good news. Trust me, everybody. If anybody wants to know about what type of a salesman I am, go check out Christina Wilcoxon online.
Yeah, that was your best sales job ever.
Talk about out punting coverage. That's this guy right here. So I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. I know how to sell. And if you want to sell more of what it is that you want to create solutions for your clients, I know that you care about your clients. Enrichers,
Yeah.
I know you have your client's best interests at heart. I'm going to say it again. It bears repeating. Whether you think they need estate planning or whether they think they need estate planning, when you both discover what we can share with you, when we enlighten you and we empower you, you're going to find out that you coming together is going to create that introductory opportunity to those that you want to work with to really ultimately multiply the dollars that you're spending on the front end to be able to work with more of the ideal clients.
Absolutely. And when you take law number 3, what you put out is what you get back. If you can put out more good stuff and help these families truly solve their financial, their tax problems and make them whole, that's going to reflect back to you with more time with your children and your grandchildren, more time with your spouse and your wife, your life, same thing. And it's going to reduce your stress. So from a health standpoint, think about this. I know the number one killer is stress. Okay. And where people think they're stressed out or not, they are, because we get into fight or flight mode. And that's why people's adrenals are blown out. Their cortisol levels are through the roof. The gut's not working properly because of the stress. And think about it. Would your stress be higher or less if you had a constant flow of clients coming in, or the exact type of client that you want, and you had a 72% client onboarding ratio? You think you'd have less stress or more stress? Let's think about that. Probably less stress, which is going to improve your health. You're also going to have more cash. So you're going to be stacking cash for them and for you and your family and your children and grandchildren, so you can start creating a legacy. for yourself. And with that money, I want you to take a little bit of it and I want you to invest it back into your health. I want you to invest in getting purification units. We'll talk about all this stuff. We'll do more segments where we're more health heavy. We're going to bounce back and forth, and sometimes it'll be 50-50. Sometimes it might be 100% financial. Sometimes wealth building, wealth creation. Sometimes it might be more health creation. You know, things like purifying the air you breathe. You take 20,000 breaths a day, and wouldn't it make sense to clean up the air in your home? Probably the best thing you could probably do. Number 2, purifying your water, getting your water restructured. If you're on city tap water, that's just, high pressure pipes make it too hard to absorb. It goes right through the intestinal tract. Very little goes through the intestinal lining because the water molecules are too darn big, right? Clean food, fresh food. We're actually going to teach you how to grow food at home. It's really easy. Or have somebody else do it. Or have the grocery store do it and you go pick it up from them. We'll show all these things. But if you can reduce your stress, boost your immune system. And what we want to do over here is I want to help you create an even bigger advantage. So Carter, if you're getting a 90% set rate and a 72% client onboarding rate, I think that I can help them increase that even more by increasing the cellular frequency of the cells in their body. And your body, guys, you enrichers that are listening, because think about it. If you're tired, do you think you're going to be as effective in a presentation? Do you think people are going to be attracted to you as much as if you're tired versus somebody that's got lots of energy? They're just like, wow, there's just something special about her. I really liked him. He's just got a lot of life force, a lot of energy. He's excited. He's motivated about helping us with that business. Because, they could have another estate planning seminar down the road or a plate licking seminar like we used to do that weekend. And they're going to be making a decision between you and the other advisor. What are you going to do to separate yourself? You're going to hopefully do and help work with Carter here, and he'll help you separate yourself completely. But at another level, how many advisors, Carter, have you ever talked about increasing their business through increasing their cellular frequency? Never.
Exactly 0. And when we first met, has it been 3 months ago, 4 months ago now? I feel like we're besties already. But when we first started talking about this, I was like, wait a second. I think it's a great idea. If you're healthier, you're gonna, it translates into your wealth. So hey, let's do this podcast, Tim.
Yeah, and it's actually part of your wealth. Like, think about it, because why do you get up and go to work every day and be a financial advisor or a CPA or an attorney or an insurance agent? Why are you leaving your house, leaving your family, going through traffic, gas, doing all that stuff? You're doing it to support your personal life. What's part of your personal life? Your body and your health. And remember, enrichers, your poor health doesn't affect just you. It affects everybody else around you. Just as the same fact is that your great health, your vibrant health, also affects everybody around you, right? So if you have poor health, you're tired, you're fatigued, you're drinking coffee and donuts and 5-hour energy drinks, and you're doing Red Bulls and all this kind of stuff just to get you through the day and get you some energy. That's not real energy. That's fake. It's like fake news. It's like this fake pandemic, right? That's what we called it, the plandemic, right? Yes, the virus is real. Yes, some people are dying, but we know the real numbers, and it's very small. So you want to have a real high, you want to have a really good immune system. You want to have good energy. You want to have good vitality, because eventually you're going to sell your practice to somebody else or transition, peel back. And, you got to think about this now. And then why not have kick-ass health the entire time while you're working, attract more clients, feel better, and then help them too. You can help your clients with their health. In fact, we'll probably make something available. Carter, we need to put my company in with your company somehow as a little component. I could shoot like videos or something like that for those that are interested, because some people are. I know a lot of my clients coming in, they had a lot of money, but they had shitty health. Yeah. What's the point if you can't enjoy it? Yep. Because you got heartburn, or you're bleeding, or you have ulcers, and you're going to the doctors all the times, and you spend all your life making all this money, and now you're pissing it away in chemotherapy treatments and that kind of stuff, because you didn't, you focused on that one area and you didn't look at the full spectrum of your happiness. So I could go on and on about this, but how would you like to wrap up, buddy? Go ahead.
Well, I'll just wrap it up with this, that, this entire podcast over, the last one here just reinforces the fact that they're so intertwined, health and wealth. It's unbelievable. As I sit here and I just listen to you talk, I've listened to a few of your own podcasts that you had prior to us, joining forces here. And, but just listening to you, I told you earlier in one of our breaks, I said, one of those 4 core things, I started chewing my food log.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I remember I'm eating and I'm like, I'm chewing, and I'm consciously doing that. And it's so important. And I've got a beautiful wife, Ms. Wilcoxon, who is a Team Beachbody coach, and she promotes wealth or health in our family, with our kids and all of this stuff. And these are things that I don't even think about. I'm not even thinking about them. So because you're so focused on the health side of things, having us joining forces is why we started this show. So Enrichers, make sure that you tune in for more of these episodes, because I promise you, you're going to you'll have key takeaways for wealth and for health. And I promise you, some of these things you're not learning or hearing about anywhere else out there. Not combined anyway.
Absolutely. And guys, remember those core 4 secrets. Drink lots of purified water, chew your food until liquefied, avoid liquids with meals, and take some deep breaths for about a minute or 2 before you eat. That's the foundation. Program those things into your phone to remind you, so that in 120 days, you'll have a hard time forgetting it. Stacking those core 4 secrets together, you'll reduce the gas, the bloating, you'll improve your digestion, your skin will improve, your energy is going to improve, the mental clarity is going to improve, and that's going to be a really good foundation to you. And if you want to take it a step further, just go into the description down below. You can go to chemicalfreebody.com, get one of our savings bundles, and start detoxing and start flooding your body with nutrition. And, I teach a class called Increasing Sales Through Nutrition. It works, okay? My average commissioned salesperson increased their income by 21%, and I coached them on their health. I did not coach them on their finances or business at all. It was simply focused on increasing their cellular vibrancy, reducing inflammation, detoxing, and giving them more energy. They increased their income by 21%. Think about that. Put that together with what Carter's doing. I think we have something here that's going to be unstoppable. And so people can really just, kick ass in what they're doing and be able to follow their highest excitement. Again, reduce the stress, spend more time with your family and your loved ones. That's what it's all about.
Perfect. Awesome. So for Tim James, I'm Carter Wilcoxon. And Richards, thank you for tuning in for episode number 2 of the Health and Wealth Podcast with Carter and Tim. Tim James, thank you very much for being my co-host again.
You're welcome, brother. And until next time, we'll see you guys again really soon. Be well.
Hey, Enrichers. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Health and Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, Carter Wilcoxon.
And I'm your host, Tim James. And by God, we are committed to helping you guys have fat wallets, flat bellies. So tune in again for another episode and make sure to like, share, and drink a lot of water.
Or beer.
You have just listened to the Health and Wealth Podcast with Carter and Tim.